Hey, welcome back to our Devlog series, where we are showcasing the development of our final year project for college. We've now been working on this game for around 3 weeks and are excited to share the progress we've made over the last week.
Throughout this week, I mainly researched mechanics, as research is one of the main areas we are graded on. This included looking into pre-existing movement shooters like Doom, Titanfall and Carlson. These games have very similar mechanics to our idea of the game, so are great to look into for inspiration. We want to include wall running and fast movement, which is one of the main focuses of Titanfall and Carlson. As well as research, I worked on my blog as a way to showcase my weekly contributions and research towards the project. I decided to spend some time on player animations using inverse kinematics. Our player now has working IK feet which change height depending on objects they are standing on. As you can see from the video playing in the background, I started work on an IK gun system. This allows players' hand positions to change during runtime separately from the player's animation. Over the next week, I will be working on fixing up the IK guns, as well as adding weapon swapping, pickups and shooting. I will also look into adding health and damage to players, allowing for some basic combat.
This week I've made a heavy focus on finalising research for both graphic and level design. I looked into some real life examples for my level design, talking about games such as Halo, Splitgate, Overwatch, Get to the Orange Door and more. I've decided to base my levels primarily on Splitgate and Halo, as they both feature a large amount of high ground and vertical mobility, which will be a prominent feature in our game. I researched a lot about 3-lane maps and thought about how I would incorporate this into my level design. I spent a few hours creating the first draft for a map, and we spent a little while playtesting to see how it felt. I made some key mistakes with this map that make it largely unplayable without a lot of practice. The first mistake was not giving the player enough room to move. It's very difficult to access the doorways into corridors, and it takes a lot of precision to even get close. The first time I tried testing the level, it took a good 10 to 20 attempts to get out of the large chambers on either end of the map. I also didn't take the player physics into account, with the player hitting their head on the corridor ceiling whenever they jump. The level is very awkward to navigate and is a long way from the smooth, seamless movement that we were aiming to create. I have a lot of tweaking to do on my level design and the player physics, but we're off to a good start. I also started creating some weapons for Dan to test his IK on. I initially created an AK-47 and then went on to make a sawed-off shotgun. For my research, I got the idea that old PS1 game devs aim to keep their models below 500 triangles. Game engines automatically triangulate models, as it's much easier to calculate a triangle than a quadrilateral. A single cube is made up of 12 triangles, so you can imagine how much this limits me in terms of a model detail. As well as this, early PS1 games had a texture quality of 128 by 128 pixels, with later games managing 256 by 256, which is the quality I chose. This means I need to fit the entire texture map of each gun onto a 256 by 256 image, which isn't easy. I'm happy with both models, and despite the AK being around 150 triangles over my target, I still think it gives off the classic look I was aiming to create. Throughout the next week, I want to work more on level design. I'm aware of the issues with my current design, and I know what I need to do to iron these problems out, so that will be my main focus. I'll probably ditch the first level for the time being and develop a more open level that allows me to design without worrying about player physics and enclosed spaces. Hopefully we will have fully functional weapons by then, and we'll be able to test my new level out in a PvP environment.
As well as all the cool stuff James and I have been working on, we have welcomed a new member to the project. Oscar is another student from a different college and is in his first year of a music course. As you can imagine, this means he'll be working with us to create completely original soundtracks for the game. This is a huge opportunity for all of us, as uniquely tailored music will really help push this project a step further. If you made it this far into the video, thank you, it really means a lot to us. Feel free to leave feedback in the comment section below, or contact us through our social media, which will be linked in the description.